You deserve happiness. Yes, you. Right where you are in this very moment, you are worthy of joy, fulfillment, and peace. Not just fleeting moments of joy, but true, deep, lasting happiness. And the best part? You don't have to chase it or prove yourself worthy of it. Happiness is something you are inherently deserving of, simply because you exist. Yet too often we treat happiness as a reward for hard work or success. We tie it to achievements, validation from others, or to some future version of ourselves that's better than we are today. This conditional mindset keeps happiness just out of reach. We tell ourselves, I'll be happy when I lose the weight, I'll be happy when I get that job, or I'll be happy when I find the right person. But happiness doesn't work like that. It's not a prize waiting for you at the end of a long race. It's something you can access here and now, in the middle of your journey. No conditions, no prerequisites. Think about how you speak to yourself. How often do you dismiss your own needs and desires, telling yourself that happiness is for later, or that maybe it's not meant for you at all? These thoughts become patterns that shape your life, but they're just beliefs, not truths. The truth is, happiness is a birthright. It's not reserved for people who have figured it all out or those who've checked all the boxes of success. It's for you, right now, no matter where you are on your journey. You don't need permission to feel joy. You're allowed to embrace it today, exactly as you are. So what if, instead of putting happiness on hold, you started treating it as something you already deserve? What if you began cultivating it in small moments, rather than postponing it for some ideal future? What if happiness could be found in the present, not because everything is perfect, but because you're choosing to honor your own worth? Take a moment to reflect on the things that already bring you joy. It might be the feeling of sunshine on your face, a conversation with a friend, or simply being at peace with yourself for a brief moment. These small moments are not insignificant. They are proof that happiness exists all around you, waiting to be embraced. Happiness doesn't require perfection. It doesn't demand that you have everything figured out, nor does it wait for you to reach some imaginary milestone before it shows up in your life. It's far simpler than that. Happiness asks only one thing, that you allow yourself to embrace it when it comes, and perhaps more importantly, that you believe you are deserving of joy right now, in the present moment, just as you are. For many of us, this can be a difficult concept to grasp. We've been conditioned to think that happiness is something we have to earn, something we get to experience only when we've achieved certain things or met the expectations of others. We often tie our happiness to external accomplishments, thinking we'll be happy when we get the promotion, lose the weight, or find the perfect relationship. But this kind of thinking sets happiness up as a moving target. We reach one goal only to set another, and happiness remains elusive, always somewhere in the future, always just out of reach. Happiness is not a prize to be won. It's not a destination waiting at the end of your journey. Happiness is something you deserve, right now, regardless of where you are or what you've accomplished. Most importantly, your worth, your inherent value as a person, is not tied to your achievements, your past mistakes, or anyone else's opinion of you. Your worth is inherent. It's not something that can be taken away or diminished, no matter what happens in life. This is one of the most powerful truths you can embrace, because once you understand that your worth is unconditional, it opens the door for you to experience happiness without limitations. You no longer have to wait until you feel good enough or until things are just right. You can start feeling joy and contentment right now, in the middle of the chaos and imperfection that life inevitably brings. This idea of unconditional worthiness is difficult for many of us to fully accept. We live in a world that often judges people based on their achievements, appearances, and social status. We're constantly bombarded with messages that tell us we need to do more, be more, and have more in order to be truly happy and successful. It's no wonder that so many of us feel like we're not enough, like we don't deserve to be happy until we've met these impossible standards. Happiness doesn't care about those standards. It doesn't care how much money you have in the bank, how many followers you have on social media, or what kind of car you drive. Happiness is not about the things you have or the image you present to the world. It's about how you feel inside, how you connect with the people and experiences that matter to you, and how you treat yourself along the way. When you understand that your worth is not tied to external achievements, you start to see happiness differently. You begin to realize that you can experience joy in the small moments, in the everyday experiences that often go unnoticed. You start to appreciate the beauty of a quiet morning, the warmth of a loved one's smile, or the satisfaction of a job well done, even if it wasn't perfect. You begin to understand that happiness is not something you have to chase. It's something you can choose, right here and now. This shift in mindset is incredibly freeing. It allows you to let go of the need for constant validation from others and stop comparing yourself to people who seem to have it all together. It helps you recognize that your happiness is not contingent on being perfect or meeting someone else's expectations. Instead, it comes from within, from your ability to appreciate the present moment and give yourself permission to be happy, even if everything isn't exactly how you imagined it would be. Of course, this doesn't mean that life will always be easy or that you'll never face challenges or setbacks. Happiness is not about pretending that everything is perfect or ignoring the difficulties that come your way. It's about finding joy and contentment even in the midst of those challenges. It's about recognizing that happiness and hardship can coexist, that you can be going through a difficult time and still find moments of peace, laughter, and love. It's often during the hardest times in life that we realize just how important it is to embrace happiness when it comes. When you've faced adversity, when you've struggled and overcome obstacles, you begin to see that happiness is not something to be taken for granted. You learn that it's the small, everyday moments of joy that matter the most, the kind of happiness that comes from within, that isn't dependent on your circumstances. This is why it's so important to cultivate a mindset of worthiness. When you believe that you are deserving of happiness, no matter what, you give yourself permission to experience joy even when things aren't perfect. You stop waiting for some future version of yourself to be good enough for happiness, and you start embracing the joy that's available to you right now. You can also practice gratitude as a way of embracing happiness in the present moment. Take time each day to reflect on the things that bring you joy, no matter how small they may seem. It could be something as simple as a cup of coffee in the morning, a kind word from a coworker, or a moment of quiet reflection. By focusing on the good in your life, you train your mind to seek out happiness, or even in the midst of difficulties. Another powerful tool is to challenge the negative beliefs that tell you happiness is something you have to earn. When you catch yourself thinking, "I'll be happy when," or "I don't deserve to be happy until," take a step back and ask yourself if those thoughts are really true. Remind yourself that happiness is not conditional, and that you don't have to wait for some future achievement to feel joy. You deserve happiness now, in this moment, exactly as you are. Another key to embracing your worthiness of happiness is self-compassion. Self-compassion encourages us to be gentle with ourselves and to give ourselves permission to feel joy, even when life isn't perfect. Often, we tell ourselves that we'll be happy only when we reach a certain goal or meet some external standard. However, happiness isn't achieved through accomplishments or by living up to unrealistic expectations. It comes from within. It's a state of being accessible to us at any moment, regardless of our circumstances. Happiness can be found in the simple pleasures of life: a cup of tea in the morning, a quiet moment before the day begins, or a good conversation with a friend. For some, it might be time spent in nature or engaging in a creative activity. These moments may seem small, but they have the power to fill us with happiness and remind us of the beauty in life. Happiness doesn't have to be grand or life-changing. In fact, the most profound happiness often stems from the small, quiet moments that connect us to ourselves and the world around us. It can be found in laughter shared with loved ones, the satisfaction of finishing a task, or the warmth of the sun on our faces. Though these moments are fleeting, they are precious because they remind us that life is full of little joys, and we are worthy of experiencing them. One common misconception about happiness is that it is reserved for special occasions or significant achievements. We often believe that happiness will come when everything in our lives is just right, when we get the promotion, find the perfect partner, or lose the weight. However, waiting for happiness to arrive in the future robs us of the opportunity to feel it right now. It places happiness just out of reach, as something always around the corner, but never quite here. Happiness is not something we need to chase. It's something we can experience in the present moment, exactly as we are. This is where self-compassion plays a vital role. When we are compassionate toward ourselves, we stop waiting for perfect circumstances to allow ourselves to feel joy. We stop telling ourselves that we need to be better or more in order to be happy. Instead, we embrace the idea that we are enough, just as we are, and that we deserve to experience happiness in this moment. Self-compassion also means recognizing that we don't have to have everything figured out to be happy. Life is messy, unpredictable, and full of challenges. Yet, even in the midst of uncertainty or difficulty, we can still find moments of happiness if we allow ourselves to. We can choose to focus on the things that bring us joy rather than dwelling on what's lacking or what's gone wrong. Another aspect of self-compassion is learning to forgive ourselves. We all make mistakes, and sometimes those mistakes can make us feel unworthy of happiness. However, holding on to guilt or shame only deepens our sense of unworthiness. Self-forgiveness allows us to release those negative feelings and move forward with a sense of peace. It reminds us that we are not defined by our mistakes and that we deserve happiness, even if we've stumbled along the way. Cultivating self-compassion is a practice that requires conscious effort, especially if we've spent years being hard on ourselves or believing that we don't deserve happiness. However, the more we practice self-compassion, the more we begin to believe in our own worthiness. When we believe we are worthy of happiness, we open ourselves up to experiencing it more fully. Practicing self-compassion involves making time for the things that bring you joy. In the hustle and bustle of daily life, it's easy to push aside the activities that make us happy in favor of getting things done. Yet, joy is not a luxury. It's a necessity. It nourishes our soul and reminds us that life is about more than just productivity, whether it's spending time with loved ones, pursuing a hobby, or simply taking a few minutes to enjoy a quiet moment. It's essential to make space for joy in your life. It's also important to remind yourself that happiness is a choice. While we can't control everything that happens in life, we can choose how we respond to it. We can focus on the things that bring us joy instead of getting caught up in negativity. We can choose to be kind to ourselves, let go of perfectionism, and embrace happiness in the present moment. Self-compassion involves recognizing that we are worthy of happiness simply because we exist. It's about giving ourselves permission to feel joy, even when life isn't perfect. It's about embracing the small moments that make life beautiful and allowing ourselves to experience them fully. Happiness doesn't require that we have everything figured out. It doesn't wait for the perfect moment or the perfect version of ourselves. It's here, right now, waiting for us to embrace it. When we practice self-compassion, we open the door to that happiness, reminding ourselves that we are enough just as we are, and that we deserve to feel the fullness of life's joys. You deserve happiness, not because of what you've done or what you will do, but simply because of who you are. You are enough, just as you are, right in this moment. Happiness is not something you have to chase. It's something you have the right to experience. This is one of the hardest yet most freeing realizations we can come to. Happiness doesn't need to be flashy or dramatic to be real. The more we tune into these small, everyday moments of joy, the more we begin to realize that happiness is always available to us. It's not reserved for special occasions or major life events. It's woven into the fabric of our daily lives, waiting for us to notice it. A powerful practice is to start looking at the things you already have, no matter how small, that bring you happiness. This can be anything from a supportive friend to a hobby you enjoy to the simple fact that you have food on the table. When you consciously acknowledge these things, you begin to shift your mindset from one of lack to one of gratitude. With gratitude comes the recognition that happiness isn't some distant goal. It's something that's already here. When you stop comparing yourself to others, you give yourself the freedom to define happiness on your own terms. You start to realize that your path is unique, and that's a good thing. What makes someone else happy might not be the same for you, and that's okay. The key is to discover what brings you joy and to honor that without worrying about how it stacks up against someone else's life. Ultimately, embracing your worthiness of happiness is about recognizing that you don't have to earn it. You don't need to achieve more, be more, or prove anything to anyone. You are enough, just as you are, and you deserve to feel happy now, in this very moment. Thank you for watching. If this message resonates with you, don't forget to like this video and share it with someone who might need to hear it today. If you're on a journey to build self-confidence and live your best life, hit that subscribe button and join us here at Authentic Self. Let that truth sink in and carry it with you as you go about your day. You are worthy of every bit of joy that comes your way. You don't have to wait for it, and you don't have to earn it. It's yours to claim right now.